towards first base, just beating out the speedy Lepresto for out number 1.
So the only changes that have happened for St. John Fisher is this shifting constantly of Maddie Dunlin. She was batting second, then she was batting first, and now she's right back into that 2 spot and goes first pitch swinging against DeCoco. The first lefty v lefty matchup that Dunlin has had to face in this tournament. She's starting out the gate aggressive as she's still looking for her first hit in the NCAA regional bracket. 0-1, this one looking to be in play. Moore settling under it. She'll get it in foul ground for out number 2.
So DeCoco only working through 9 batters in that first game against University of Rochester, was quickly subbed out and had Guy Johnson come in for her. And when we compare what happened in that game to what happened against Western New England, it was a smart decision as Western New England really got a hold of DeCoco the second time through the order. Interesting to see if that strategy remained the same here today.
Hard, sharp liner to Steinberg. Throw to first, and it's a 5-pitch inning for DeCoco. 3 quick outs, no balls leaving the infield. And that's the start that Tufts has been looking for. It's what they've been producing all throughout the tournament, and if history is going to repeat itself, Andrew, they're going to put a 2-spot up in the first inning as they have in both of the other games they have played.
Which has resulted in a 50-50 in terms of win-loss, so not necessarily what you always are going to look for. And with that being said, we talked about it earlier before we went live, but the order changes in the lineup for the Jumbos. They're running their 3rd straight different starting lineup today, or just throughout this tournament, where they have Josie Steinberg up to the leadoff spot as she was yesterday, and Kayla McCabe slotted into that 7 hole. So there's not going to be that swap between Harita and McCabe as there has been all tournament long. It will be Heaven Oliva taking a seat, and so trying to just get something that is working a little bit for the Jumbos, as they did only put up 2 runs in that last game.
There have been a couple of situations where that position where Harita and McCabe have been sharing has come up to bat with some runners on the bases. And McCabe, not to say that she has struggled in that position, she has produced hits, just not to the same extent that we have seen from Lauren Harita. Lauren Harita, when she's had at-bats with runners on the bases, home run and an RBI double. While McCabe produced a single and a sacrifice hit, neither of which, necessarily reaching to the same caliber that Tufts is looking for, especially when they are in these positions where they are trailing or it's a tie game. And that change has resulted in McCabe saying, I have a solid enough bat to earn my way in the lineup, but we also need to find a way to keep Harita's bat in permanently as well.
And we'll talk about this a little bit later as well once McCabe does come up to bat, but I do like her a little bit more in the bottom part of the lineup where the Jumbos are playing small ball. They're able to slap the ball around, put runners on base for their big hitters, and just making sure you have maximum offensive production top to bottom while also still maintaining some level of defensive integrity. You can argue if keeping the lineup consistent versus changing things up is good or bad, but overall makes sense if you are Coach Epstein today.
The one thing that has remained tried and true throughout this tournament is Josie Steinberg's ability to hit the ball. Back-to-back multi-hit games for her, and that is why she is in the leadoff spot now, looking to get things started for Tufts. 2-1 outside ball 3.
We also saw Steinberg make a multitude of really great plays defensively. Just even in that last inning, that was a hard hit ball right to her. She was able to field it. Now can she produce with the bat again?
3-1, looking to go inside. Evanetsky. Steinberg goes up the middle instead. The hit streak continues. She is just raking this tournament.
Yeah, there's a reason that she was all NESCAC first team Defensive Player of the Year. Just a great player all around. It's just yet another hit for her. I believe that's number 7 on the tournament as a whole.
3 games, 7 hits, Andrew.
So that's bringing up her average a little bit, and it was already at 407. So great spot for her. And setting up for Lauren Harita.
Pretty sure the number here is 7 for 8.
And a walk.
And a walk. 7 for 8 and a walk. And now it's this very iconic position that Tufts has found themselves in the first inning, where Steinberg is on base, Harita is the batter. And the previous 2 games, this has resulted in runs, but Evanetsky has some pretty nasty stuff, and she's working Harita outside. In Game 1 against Rochester, Rochester was trying to contest Harita on the inside part of the plate and see if she was able to battle there while she's had a lot of success opposite field. And she came out on top there. And after seeing that result, it seems that the dynamic is now switched back to trying to attack Harita on the outside part of the plate.
Yeah, exactly. She had that double that she pulled into right field. So able to work all parts of the plate. And so you just got to maybe keep Harita on her toes a little bit if you're Evanetsky.
2-1 going inside. Harita barrels this one out in center field, and going back is Dunlin. She'll grab that one right on the edge of the warning track. Steinberg now caught in a rundown. She tried to go and advance. The throw not going to be received cleanly by Shackleton. Steinberg thought that ball was hit deep enough that she could have a chance on advancing to second. But at the end of the day, it's a strong throw in center from Dunlin, and Steinberg will remain at first.
Yeah, man, Steinberg caught a bit of a break there. The throw that came into Shackleton at first base was pure. She just was unable to keep a hand on it. And so, even though the throw did beat her, Steinberg still is on first base. A bold move to try to tag up to go to second, especially with how the dimensions of Spicer Field specifically do work. Only 220 feet to get back to center field.
So bring up Bella Jimenez. Jimenez in game one did have a hit, but it was game one of today, that is. In game one overall that Tufts played in the tournament, she had a 3-hit day. So she's been producing. She was a little further down in the lineup, but the more and more she's hit, the more and more she's climbed up that batting order.
Yeah, Jimenez overall had a bit of a slower season this year compared to in 2023, which had an 877 OPS, but always has been able to produce in these big moments here in the NCAA tournament. She did it last year, and it looks like she's doing it again this year.
1-1, that one will skip right in front of the feet of Jimenez. Spitz keeping that one in front of her, preventing Steinberg from advancing. Jimenez under this one. It's going out into shallow right field. Dawson coming in will grab that one for out number 2. It's nice to see that the communication issues that we had seen in the previous game for these infield defenders of St. John Fisher Cardinals have remedied themselves. There were 2 collisions that happened between infielders and outfielders on shallow fly balls, and nice to see that Dawson was loud enough there to call everything off as Perucci fouls one back.
So now if you're the Jumbos, you're looking for a 2-out rally here, and you have a good back-to-back to do. You have Perucci followed by Edelman. Steinberg over at first base. So people can put the ball in play. We'll see if they can do it here.
0-1 will bounce. Steinberg going into second. She'll beat the throw and is safe.
Yeah, that was a good pitch to go on. It was a breaking ball that ended up in the dirt. The catcher Spitz had to, first scoop the ball before making a throw. And it was an accurate one, but Steinberg is quick. She had 6 stolen bases coming into today. She got herself another one.
Ball from the bullpen rolls into the field for the 3rd time in the tournament. Hadn't seen it before, and yet here it is, 3 times through. 1-1 now with the runner in scoring position for Perucci. She lines this one. It's down for a base hit. Steinberg is being waved. The throw from McManus not in time. Perucci advances to second, and her RBI single puts Tufts in the lead in the first.
What a solid smack by Kaylin Perucci. Hadn't seen a ton of that power so far. It's been a lot of singles for her early in this tournament, but she delivered on that one, a barrel straight into left field, and that's the benefit of going there for Josie Steinberg. She got into scoring position, was able to score on that single, and then now Perucci advancing to second on the throw as well. Same spot here for Edelman.
The 2-out rally is underway, and Michelle Edelman, who is an absolute beast in the previous matchup against the Yellow Jackets, had a 3-hit, multiple extra base hit game. Now with a runner in scoring position as her bat has sparked to life. 0-1. Swings over on the drop ball from Evanetsky.
It was just a matter of time, I feel like, for Edelman to really get going. She was 0 for 3 in that first game, but this is a hitter who's been perennially incredible for the Jumbos, and maybe even moving her down to the batting order a little bit. Gave her some more confidence.
0-2, Edelman will ground that one. It's DiMartino at short. Errant throw, Edelman looking to turn to go to second. Perucci will score on the improperly fielded ball from Shackleton at first. Edelman will take the place of Perucci at second. Should be an unearned run deemed against Evanetsky, and here it is. It's another 2-spot in the first inning for Tufts.
Oh, that was honestly a pretty solid throw from DiMartino. We've seen her just really shine with the glove all tournament long, but that's the pressure that somebody like Edelman is able to put even on a traditional ground ball. She's going again.
Spitz going to throw. That ball was beating Edelman, but the tag just not in time from Cornover at third. The 2 speedy Jumbos have made their way to third and second. just barely beaten Spitz's tosses, and now a conference needs to be had with Evanetsky.
Yeah, Edelman just flying around the base paths, already on third base after just hitting what to many people could look at like a routine ground ball to shortstop. But with Edelman sprinting, hustling out of the box, getting over to first base, DiMartino had to put a little extra on it, and then Shackleton just unable to retrieve that ball correctly, allowing for that run to score, allowing for Edelman to get to second and now third. And just the pressure.
Spitz is doing a really good job in terms of getting the ball out in time and having a competitive throw. It's just the tags have not quite been there. The throw down to second was on the money, exactly where it needed to be. Steinberg just barely eking it out. And right there, the throw beat Edelman to the bag, just the tag not in quick enough.
There's a little bit of a swim move, as you say, for Edelman as well. She reached her left arm towards the outside of the bag to make sure that Cornover at third base had to reach just a little bit extra. And that ended up being the difference.
Rachel Moore will get under this one. It's heading into foul territory. Dawson's going to run out of room. Crazy to think that on a ball that was almost definitely going foul, not only did Edelman run from third and touch home plate, she almost grabbed the bat of Moore too with how fast she just ran down the line. 2-1 to Moore. Bounces at the feet. 3-1 Spitz. Picking up where Maddie Mason left off for Western New England, keeping everything down and in front of her and preventing any runner on the bases from advancing from a pass ball or a wild pitch.
You know, especially with Edelman on third. Ball gets passed, she's headed home.
We're going to swing at this one. It's head out into center field, but Dunland's got it. It's another two spot in the first inning for Tufts, and history says this is a coin flip as to whether or not they'll hold on to win this one. But DeCoco back into the circle with a 2-run lead as she's become accustomed to in this tournament.
For the Jumbos in the bottom.
4, 5, and 6 due up for the Cardinals. It's McManus, Spitz, and DiMartino. McManus had the long ball that gave the Cardinals a 1-0 lead over the Golden Bears that held for 4 innings. Didn't end up being enough to push them over the finish line, but it was definitely an emphatic piece of hitting. It was a 3-2 pitch. She had thought she walked the pitch prior, but a ruled strike that she decided to take her anger out against the home official with. That was her 13th home run on the year, which now makes her the leader across all teams in the tournament in terms of home runs.
I was just about to say, there were 3 coming into today, or just coming into this tournament as a whole. You, of course, did have McManus, the left fielder here for Fisher. You also had Riley Aligo, and another one over on Western New England as well.
It was Kaylee Carano. All of them entered with 12. And now that Western New England has exited, we're down to 2 who are above that 10 home run mark, with McManus leading the charge. 1-2 now to her. DeCoco gonna get a called strike 3. McManus has been really struggling with that outside part of the strike zone. She had a couple of 3-1 pitches called strike, a couple of 3-0 pitches called strikes as well on the outside, and that 1-2 will get her down looking.
Yeah, that outside corner has been something that's been a topic of conversation all weekend here in Medford. It's the same home plate umpire, actually, that was behind the plate for the first game that Tufts played against Western New England. We saw Sky Johnson miss out on a couple of calls in that spot, but it seems rather consistent, except now we're seeing that fastball from DeCoco get the call on the outside corner, at least so far, against St. John Fisher.
Catcher Mari Spitz is the batter. Spitz had a base hit in the bottom of the 6th in the game prior that ended up netting that final run as she was pinch run for, and that runner came around to score. But DeCoco, working that outside edge with that screwball, has put her ahead 0-2.
DeCoco has already thrown more pitches in this inning than she did in the last. So at least good on Fisher for working some counts here in the second inning, which they did not do too much, and that's actually what Western New England did well that ended up getting them a little bit of momentum in that first game that they played against DeCoco and the Jumbos.
Andrew, we're 4 outs deep now, and that was the first ball thrown by DeCoco. She was off to a pretty hot streak to start things off. But now that she's had a little bit more liberty with these 0-2 counts, now that she's been exposed to that strikeout, something that we don't really see from her all that often, she's starting to play around with the zone and trying to get some chase. 2-2 pitch. This one hit on a liner. Jimenez with a dive has it, and the throw stretched by Lineback, and that'll be out number 2.
What a play by Bella Jimenez. She's pumped up, firing up her teammates there. A diving stop. I thought that was going to go through for a base hit, but Jimenez said no. She's been the target of a lot of plays at second base. Has, committed an error or two throughout this weekend, but not going to be able to put a stop to that one here. A nice play for the second out of the inning.
Amalia DiMartino, who, in my opinion, has been the best defensive player we've seen across this tournament with the 4 highlight reel plays she has, will knock one past Jimenez. Jimenez trying to repeat the same exact play that had just happened one pitch earlier, but not quite able to get there. DiMartino, we said it in the previous game, she just has insane bat speed, and when you have bat speed like that, when you make the collision, Andrew, the ball's going to travel.
Yeah, I think it was placed very similar spot as the last one that was hit by Spitz, but Jimenez unable to get to there because that little extra velocity. It's the game of inches here in softball. Another one right to her.
She'll go to shortstop in this one, and that'll be how the inning ends. A 4-6 fielder's choice. 1 over the minimum faced by DeCoco, and we'll see how that affects how things have gone in terms of the pitching order here. Usually it's been DeCoco sees just one time through the batting order, but when you're 1 over the minimum, maybe that changes a little bit. Maybe you get to see LaPresto again. LaPresto had some weak infield contact that Jimenez made a great play on, so maybe you get back to that top of the order, especially with Dunlin behind, who is, again, still looking for that first hit of the NCAA tournament. We'll see how that goes. The 2-run lead still preserved for Tufts, and again, history says that 2-run lead will stay for 3 innings, and then in the 4th, that'll be where things start to get sketchy.
We'll see if that ends up happening because DeCoco's look good so far. Only 1 hit. It's all been relatively weak contact until that one really solid base hit by DiMartino that got past Jimenez between first and second base. So overall, she's doing everything according to the back of her baseball card, which is issuing weak contact with some of the spin differences in her pitch decisions. So I would imagine that she's going to be out there again for the 3rd. The question is, how long is that leash, and is Sky Johnson ready to go once again?
So this is, again, one of these positions that we are choosing to talk about in terms of the lineup changes. We said Heaven Oliva is out. She was batting in the 7th spot, and Kayla McCabe has split from her tandem in Harita, so she will now be batting in what is solely her spot as the left fielder to start things off in the 2nd. A couple of hits so far in the tournament, but this is her first true start in the regional.
Yeah, McCabe done really well for herself overall, played some good defense over in left field, and has had a lot of really hard hit balls. He had a single right up the middle earlier, had another one that we thought was going to be close to another hit. That was robbed by a really nice play by Savannah Nowak over of Rochester. So be able to put good contact on the ball, and that is something that Lauren Epstein and the Jumbos are really hoping for here in this game.
Swing just barely getting a piece of the ball. Regardless, it'll be the first strike.
Lindsey Newman also still remains an option to be used in a pinch hitting situation if the Jumbos want a different look, maybe a little bit more power out of Newman compared to the contact-oriented bat of McCabe. And still have that double switch, so that is something that we can keep in mind as the game progresses.
2-1, McCabe will foul this one off. Ivanetsky had a pretty solid start to her outing against the Yellow Jackets. McCabe will hit this one to DiMartino. Throws in time to record the first out of the inning. But as I was saying, Evanetsky, very solid start, but then the Yellow Jackets began to swarm. The hits piled on, everything started to fall apart very quickly. Didn't get past that 4th inning, and then Maddie White did her best to try and hold on, try and stall long enough for the bats of the Cardinals to wake up and come back to life and push them forward into the winner's bracket. Ultimately didn't end up going that way, but Evanetsky is a true bounce-back pitcher. If you look through some of the game logs, in the couple of games where she has been hit, where she has given up runs, she's bounced back with quality starts to follow.
And it's interesting the difference in strategy between the coaching staff of St. John Fisher and Tufts here. You know, they both have two very, very solid pitchers who made all-conference teams. They're utilizing them differently.
Slayton will get under this one. Dawson, trailing out to her left, will reel that one in. And for Carrie Ann Slayton, it's been quite an unfortunate NCAA tournament. She's yet to find a hit, but has had, that is now the 7th, I believe, fly out across the 3 games she has played. So she's making contact, just not quite finding the empty parts of the field.
Yeah, just got to get on top of it a little bit more. And for the Jumbos, again, they've been running with Johnson and DeCoco kind of in tandem. They'll piggyback one after the other. But on the other side for St. John Fisher, it's been each pitcher gets one game that they kind of are in control of. It was Evanetsky for game number 1. It was Ormond earlier today.
First basewoman lineback turns on that ball, rips it foul.
Which is interesting to see, like, the difference in terms of how each of these teams are managing the games in terms of their pitching staff. Because they both have very similar situations, right, where they have 2 all-conference pitchers who they feel comfortable with to start games in the regular season. Tufts utilizing things a little bit differently than Fisher is.
Swing and a miss. Evanetsky records her first strikeout of the game, and Tufts will put up a 0 in the second. So far, following true to form, DeCoco back into the circle, trying to hold that 2-0 lead in favor of the Jumbos.
Moving to the 3rd, due up to St. John Fisher.
We're heading into the 3rd, 8-9-1 due up for the Cardinals. It'll be McLaughlin, Dawson, and then LaPresto. This is the inning where we're kind of going to figure out what the pitching plan is from Coach Epstein and the Jumbos.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a function of just the unfortunate circumstances of the dimensions here at Spicer, but you can see the away dugout, or the away bullpen, I should say, from where we are. A lot easier than the home bullpen. And so while we were able to get in the earlier game to determine if somebody was warming up or not, we can't really see over in the Jumbo bullpen. So we'll see what the leash does, remain at, because DeCoco has been dealing so far.
Foul ball from McLaughlin. Of course, on top of that, Andrew, we also have our very fancy new headsets with incredible noise suppression, so we can't even hear if there is a ball being caught in that general direction.
Yeah.
Darned technology doing it again.
It's the good and bad things.
1-1 pitch to McLaughlin. Swings over that one. Hits it with the bottom of her bat for a foul.
McLaughlin, the DP here for the majority of the tournament so far, still looking for some consistency on the offensive end, at least here in the NCAA tournament. She's put up good numbers overall with a good amount of power, 2 home runs on the season.
1-2 pitch from DeCoco, barely bouncing in front of the plate. Slayton showing off some defensive skills, keeping the ball in front of her, despite the fact that nary a Cardinal on the bases. 2-2. And DeCoco gets another strikeout.
Put away pitch on the outside corner. I feel like if you're Dakota, you're comfortable if that's a ball or a strike because it's just a very well-placed pitch. Puts a hitter like McLaughlin on edge a little bit there, and this time got the call from the home plate umpire. We've been seeing fastballs in the outside corner, once again being called strikes, and so that's what Dakota has kind of found an advantage with. That little looping drop ball from Johnson. Not as lucky in terms of the results that we've seen.
The right fielder, Dawson, is now up to bat. Dawson still looking for her first hit in 2024. The left-handed slap hitter took an offer in her start in the previous game and is now kind of being handled by Dakota.
Yeah, we're talking about in the press box a little bit. You don't see slap hitters too often here in D3 lineups anymore. And Dawson, you know, the goal is to be able to put the ball in play if you are somebody who is a slap hitter, but has not found it just yet. So in the NCAAs.
1-2 pitch, just on the outside, ball 2. Dawson doing well to hold up there. After 2 swings and misses, Dakota is trying to work even further outside to this left-handed batter, but Dawson has learned from her mistakes and is now putting up a solid at-bat as she goes down swinging. Of course, as I say things, it's the caster curse. Back-to-back strikeouts for Dakota, 3 on the day, and now she's 1 through the rotation, and no move has been made to the bullpen, so Dakota is likely to finish the 3rd inning.
Yeah, as you mentioned last inning, she got Lepresto to issue some weak contact, so it's probably going to be the goal again. You can see that one goes foul, but in terms of just the difference in play style or just pitching style between Dakota and Johnson, as you said, just the balls stay at relatively similar velocity. It's just the direction in which they travel, which does result in this weak contact being issued a lot of the time. The
up-down of Johnson versus the side-to-side of Dakota. And that screwball against the righties. It's tailing, and it's landing on that edge. Ahead 0-2 now. She has the potential to strike out the side. I don't know if she's done that in her career here at Tufts. Be surprised if she has. Not going to get the punch out there. Steinberg shot, she had it, but...
Yeah, Dakota nods a little bit. She knows she put that one a little bit further outside than the last one, just trying to test the edges, test that limit of where the strike zone really is.
1-2. Lepresto in the box, not going to swing. She did take. Look at me jumbling my words. I'm getting changed up, one would say.
Ah, that's a pitching term.
But crash. 2-2. This one flared out, going to go foul.
You can see Lepresto taking very defensive swings. Not a ton of power on the season. Only 1 extra base hit entering the tournament out of 8 total hits that she has had. So in terms of, you know, getting the bat on the ball, that's the priority for her so far.
We'll do the 2-2 again. Dakota gets Lepresto to hit this one into the air. Perucci will reel that one in. Not going to strike out the side, but it is a 1-2-3 inning for number 13.
Really great stuff from Dakota. And honestly, in comparison to the other starts that she has had, we have not seen as much action on the base paths here for Fisher as we did last games that she did play. You see Sky Johnson actually in the huddle. She's currently, I think, still in a warm-up hoodie, so we're not entirely sure what the situation is going to look like, but this is maybe the best situation to keep Dakota in for another inning just because of how dominant she's looked against this Fisher lineup. They really haven't had an answer for her so far, while the other teams that they have played so far have.
Of course, this is an elimination match, so while Dakota so far has had the better of the Cardinals, you would expect the leash to be short. So you wouldn't be 100% surprised if 1-2 base runners come on, and even though she's been dealing up until now, just pulling the plug, putting Johnson in to at least change up the look in terms of what pitches you're facing, what type of a pitcher you're facing. Of course, that all presumes that it's still this 2-run lead. This 2-run lead has been very difficult for Tufts to manage throughout the tournament. If you look towards game number 1, they got out 2-0, then fell behind 4-2, tied it up 4-4, and then went on to win 8-4. And the 2 runs they put on up against Rochester, nothing followed suit. They gave up 4 and ended up losing that battle. Steinberg hitting this one out into shallow right field, but it'll fall foul.
Yeah, softball is a lot about making adjustments, right? You see a hitter or you see a pitcher for the first time around, and then you make an adjustment to try and improve your performance on the last time around. It seems like so far the opponents, specifically Rochester, really did a better job at that than Tufts did. They really did not get anything going on the offensive end after that first inning. So hopefully this time, as the Jumbos go around the second time.
Steinberg going to ground this one to LaPresto. Weird hop, but she got the throw off in time. Steinberg retired for just the second time in the tournament.
That was an interesting placement of the ball there for LaPresto. If she tried to field it in the position that she was standing, it would have been a really short hop, would have maybe ate her up a little bit, so she decided to take a step back, let the ball travel to her a little bit because she knew that she had time with a shorter throw to go over to first base.
Still ends up taking a abnormally large hop, but regardless, stellar defense from LaPresto at second since she has stepped in for Maddie Rose. Lauren Harita now the batter. Harita flew out to center in the first. Takes the 0-1 from Evanetsky. Evanetsky a little tangled up on the fact that ball was not called a strike, so the count will even 1-1.
And once again, it's the off speed. It's that dropper that just falls outside the strike zone. So good job on Harita to remember the situation and to not go for the swing on that one.
Pitch number 3 too high. It'll be a 2-1 count now to the Jumbo power hitter. Two-one fell back right at us. The net here not quite tightly strung, so before the ball springs back, it does shoot out a little bit.
Yeah, testing our
Scary
reflexes a
enough
little bit back here.
to make us jump. Of course, that's one of the balls that have we been playing in Savannah for the Bananas. If a fan catches it, it isn't out. Harita will hit this one out into the street. There's a man walking his child and dog who just watched that one bounce away.
Maybe startled a little bit. Hope everything's glad that nobody was injured over there. Rare time that the ball does go into the street.
I'm more impressed that the dog didn't run after it. I would say to a dog, a softball probably looks like a tennis ball. Harita going to flare this one into shallow right field. It'll fall for a base hit.
Nice work by Harita. Again, utilizing that pull side to get that ball into shallow right field, right where Dawson was unable to get there. So another base runner on. And again, this is the part of the lineup for the Jumbos that really has been going. This is where they scored those 2 runs in the first inning. We'll see if they can do it again with Jimenez leading things off.
Jimenez looking for her first hit against the Cardinals. Goes golfing at the first pitch. And that drive went some negative yardage.
You see Cornover at third. She's even with the bag right now. You know, we've seen a lot of situations where as soon as the base runner reaches, the corners will come in. Jimenez, could get away with the bunt here potentially.
Jimenez instead going to line this one out into right field. Jumping up is Dawson.
Uh-oh.
She's throwing back to first. Harita got back with plenty of time. Shackleton having to jump up to grab that one. Of course, Spitz was playing defensively behind, so the odds of Harita advancing on that were very low. But Dawson jumping to her right, arm out to the left, reels in out number 2. Perucci under this one. It's going to go shallow. Dawson coming in again. She's got it. It's the 4th F9 of the game, and Dawson defensively in left field, keeping the runners stay put where they are and putting the 3rd inning to a close. Tufts still up 2-0 as we head to the top of the 4th.
No runs.
Heading to the top of the fourth, DeCoco will continue to work for the Jumbos. It's going to be Donlin, Shackleton, and McManus. All of which looking to get a hit against
The Sunshine Fisher
the Jumbos.
is the center fielder, number 13, Manny Dunlap.
Center fielder Dunlin, last time up, popped up in foul territory to Rachel Moore. She'll slap that one. Moore's got it. Throw will be in time to line back for out number one.
Yeah, Rachel Moore has just got such a great arm over at third base. Able to make those quick reaction plays with ease. And that was a hard hit ball by Dunlin. That's a base hit against a lot of other defenses here in Division III, but not against Rachel Moore and the Tufts Jumbos.
And you've seen it from Moore, not just at third base, but at second base as well. There was a period in time where Tufts had a question mark as to who their second baseman of the future was. There were just some defensive inconsistencies with all the pieces they were trying. And Moore, who was surefire at third, slid over to the other side of the bases and was pretty great at second base as well. So moved from what some consider to be an easier defensive position to play back to third base and has arguably been better there. First basewoman Shackleton is now the batter.
Yeah, and this is now the middle of the order here for St. John Fisher. Their second time around seeing DeCoco. We've seen teams take advantage of the second time that they have seen her, specifically Western New England. So we'll see if some of the strongest hitters of Fisher can do the same.
So long as that screwball outside to right hitters is continuing to fall into place, it'll be a tall task to order. 1-2 pitch to Shackleton. Just a tiny smidgen upstairs.
Yeah, Shackleton, the freshman, was all-conference second team in the Empire 8. She had a bit of a slower start to her season, was hitting about 250, but had gotten that average number way up.
Ball hit high and deep into right field. Perucci trying to trace that one down. Ends up running into the MVP of yesterday, the rain tarp.
Yeah, shout out the rain tarp for letting us make sure that we're staying on schedule here. It's amazing how dry the infield actually does remain with the tarp on. It was pouring for a couple of hours. The tarp came off. They actually need to water the field.
Foul ball hit by Shackleton. Yeah, we've been talking about the defense from Steinberg, from Moore, from DiMartino on the side of SJF, but how about 4.5 hours of lockdown defense against the elements provided by the tarp?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of keeping us on schedule, that's the real MVP there. Followed by the
grounds crew, of course.
Yeah, and then after that, the Rochester warm-up time being really short every time they took the field in the game yesterday.
Count now worked full by Shackleton. DeCoco looking to bring her best stuff on this pitch. Shackleton will hit this one foul again. Perucci not able to trace that one down either. This ball's out to right field. They're getting out in a hurry, so Perucci doesn't have the chance to make a play in foul ground. And DeCoco, who has only let up one ball that is, technically speaking, left the infield. That base hit that had happened from DiMartino bounced off the infield and went into the outfield.
And looking inside here if you're DeCoco, just because of all the opposite field power that we've seen so far from Shackleton.
Andrew, you called it. It's a liner right to Moore. Moore caught it. Shackleton running down to first just for the thrill of it. The hot corner is proving way too cool for the bats of SJF.
Hey, I mean, it was the right idea, but Shackleton still got a hold of that one. That was, again, another hard hit ball towards third base, but right at Rachel Moore. She's able to make another nice play. And DeCoco working through potentially this fourth inning if they are able to retire one of the best hitters in the Empire 8 Conference. That's Emily McManus.
Left fielder gets under this one. Perucci needing to take a couple steps back into her left, but she's got it. One pitch, and that's out number 3. DeCoco through 4 scoreless, holding on to that 2-0 lead. There's that fourth inning, Andrew, that we've been talking about in the other 2 games that Tufts played where things started to crumble. But against SJF, against some of their more power-oriented bats that front-load the beginning part of their lineup, DeCoco's come out on top.
Yeah, it's been the middle of the order, second time around. That's normally when you'll see these big adjustments be made, and some of the best hitters on each of these respective conference champions really starting to take advantage of a pitcher like DeCoco, but there's a reason that DeCoco also has been an All-American in the past. She's very solid. She's being able to make adjustments on her own end, specifically, I guess just working both sides of the plate a little bit. You saw that last at bat to Shackleton was pumping the outside corner a ton, as she was doing a bunch with the other batters, and then in a 3-2 count, having the guts to go inside against a very solid first baseman in Shackleton. So, I mean, for DeCoco, a really solid performance so far, and if I were Coach Epstein, I mean, we've seen this tandem continue to flourish, but I would send her out again for the fifth. She's been looking really good.
You know, Andrew, you just jumped a little step in front of what I was about to ask. With the way that DeCoco has been pitching, if Tufts holds on to this lead, if they come out on top, if she goes the distance all 7 innings, how do you approach tomorrow? How do you approach the series against Rochester, where you have already showed them all of the pitchers that you will use, that you have used this season, that you likely are to use in the tournament? How do you go about changing the style there? Do you just stick with one pitcher? Do you continue to do this tandem? Do you maybe change the tandem and give one of your 2-star starting pitchers a full game and then piggyback the other one with Chillick? How do you change this approach? Edelman under this one. Coming in into right center field is Dunlin. That's out number 1.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy. I mean, overall throughout the season for Tufts, it's been each pitcher, Johnson and DeCoco respectively, getting full games, getting the opportunity to go the distance if they have the stuff. But it's been shifted up a little bit here because of the NCAA tournament. There are some higher stakes. Also, double headers are played a lot of the time in NESCAC play. So, in terms of seeing different, looks from pitchers, if you're playing the same team twice in a row, it's probably better to have one pitcher go all the way in the first game and another pitcher go all the way in the second game. But I don't know, DeCoco's looking pretty good so far, Jordan. I don't know about you.
I mean, I have to agree, Andrew. The scoreboard says all that you need to see when it comes to the performance that she has issued through 4 innings today. The third basewoman, Rachel Moore, up to bat. Flew out to center field back in the first. On another 2-0 count. Hard rip there, foul. Looks like it was going to held the line for a minute and then just took a break left.
Yeah, Moore has a lot of familiarity with those foul balls here today. Had one just down the right field line that was ruled foul. That would have brought in another run against Rochester. Brought that lead to just 1 with Perucci on deck. So just got to straighten things out just a tad here.
Moore getting under this one. Donlin running back into left center field, but she's got it for out number 2.
Nevenetsky really settling down after giving up those first 2 runs. I mean, there's a reason, again, she's been all Empire 8 second team. Whip of less than 1, which is a really impressive stat when you look at, all the performances of the pitchers that are here at this tournament. Limiting base runners, keeping these innings short. After that first inning, that's all that's happened so far against the Jumbos.
Ever since that first inning, 2 runs coming in, it's just been that one hit by Lauren Harita in the third that has stopped Evanetsky from having retired essentially every batter in a row. 8 of the last 9 have been retired by her. McCabe stepping in for her second at bat, grounded out to short in her first AB. One McCabe hitting this one into foul territory. Shackleton not going to be able to make a play there. 1-2.
We've seen McCabe continue to look the opposite way. Just kind of that similar defensive swing from the right-hand side. You can see the second basewoman, Lepresto, cheating towards first a little bit.
This one will go back into the netting. Spitz tried to make a play, dove into the net to try and catch that one, but as soon as the ball makes contact with the netting, it's considered a dead ball. So even if it sprung back into the glove or dribbled down and fell in, it would have been a dead ball regardless. Just some rules of the ballpark that need to be explained. Like anytime a major league team goes down to Tampa and they have to explain the ring rules. Sharp grounder. Not going to be fielded cleanly. I almost said cleaned fieldly.
That was close enough.
Not going to be cleaned fieldly, that time said intentionally, by Kelly Cornover at third. We'll see the official ruling there. I believe will be a base hit for McCabe, considering just how hard that ball came off of the bat.
Yeah, they did rule that a hit, and that was McCabe pulling it for the first time that we've seen so far, taking advantage of that breaking ball. looks like Conover wasn't really ready for it that time around. It was a hard hit ball, of course, as well. So that's a base runner on with 2 outs, and with Slayton up, this is her chance to really break out. Has just been missing the balls by just a little bit.
0-1 to Slayton. She'll ground that one up the middle, but DiMartino just needs to step on the bag, and that'll do it for the 4th. Tufts still holding that 2-0 lead. Going to take a half second and see. It is Sophia DeCoco coming back out for the 5th. Seemingly the tandem is over. DeCoco, it's her time to work.
No runs, 1 hit. They leave a runner on.
Top of the 5th, Sophia DeCoco has been dealing for the Jumbos. She'll face Spitz, DiMartino, and Cornover. DiMartino is that 1 hit on the scoreboard for the SJF Cardinals. We'll see if Spitz can get something started. As the Cardinals, this game has been rapid paced, rapid moving, and you know, just it feels like just a blink ago, it was that bottom of the 1st inning where Tufts got on the board, and here we are now, 3 innings later.
Yeah, if you're Fisher, this is a big inning for you here in the 5th. You're seeing DeCoco again for the 2nd time in the order.
Spitz under this one. Jimenez tracing back, gave way to Perucci. Perucci thought Jimenez was going to try and make the play there, so that ball will fall down for a hit. And now that tying run comes to the plate in the form of Amalia DiMartino.
Yeah, I was about to say, you have DiMartino who had a hit earlier today. You also have Spitz, who just reached base, who had an excellent Empire 8 tournament, specifically where she hit 2 home runs. So this is a good time to really strike. DiMartino able to put the ball in play with really small contact. She's throwing bunt here.
DeCoco has a play to be made at 2nd. She'll get the lead runner in Spitz. Very smart play from the pitcher there. However, you got to question the Cardinals' coaching. In the previous game, they were in a very similar situation, but they pinch ran for Spitz. It's the 5th inning. You do have the re-entry rule. If the plan is to lay down a bunt, why wouldn't you try and go for someone who's a little bit more speedy?
Yeah, it's
you
a
did
tough.
have some extra steps, some extra pace. I don't think a play could have been made at 2nd.
It's a tough decision, absolutely, for sure. And I think because that bunt was placed in a way that DeCoco was able to field it very, very quickly, that allowed for the force out to be made at 2nd base. If DiMartino ended up having it go a little bit to the side, or if it was Slayton fielding it, it would have been a much more difficult play at 2nd.
Cornover going to hit this one down the line. The ball's going to fall foul. The Tufts crowd making some nods towards their first game on the fair foul call.
Yeah, it's been maybe a
everyone in the stadium in agreement here.
Perhaps a sore subject for some people, especially to the left of us. That right field line, the top of the conversation.
1-1 to Cornover. DeCoco will not find the zone. 2-1. DiMartino has some speed at first. Cornover going to foul that one.
Yeah, Cornover is somebody who has performed in these clutch situations before, made the All-Empire 8 All-Tournament team, had a grand slam in one of those opening matches against Alfred. So another spot where she's representing the tying run here. Home run would, once again, tie that score.
atypical position. But you could say DeCoco's chasing the strikeout, and she gets it.
Yeah.
Not something you usually say when you're watching a Sophia DeCoco day, but the strikeout pitches, the location has just been a tad better than we've seen all season.
Yeah.
And it's another strikeout, Andrew. It's 4. 4 in a game from Sophia DeCoco.
You know, there are pitchers who throw a ton of strikeouts per game. And the reason that we are, you know, marveling at this number, this 4 count for DeCoco is on top of only allowing 2 hits so far, it's been the strikeouts. Her stuff has just looked incredible today. Things seem to be breaking just a little bit more. The placement just has been pristine for her. And there's a reason that she's staying in this game is because she's looking good against this Fisher lineup.
This one hit high in the air, but Steinberg not needing to move an inch. And that'll close the top of the 5th. Andrew, we've had the pleasure through many years to watch Sophia DeCoco go out on the mound and throw 1-hit, 2-hit, all ground-out games. So to see the strikeouts is kind of why we, are taking it all in, especially when you consider the fact that we can say, despite the fact that we've said it, I believe, 2 other times before, that this definitively will be our last game we broadcast for JumboCast.
Yeah, and maybe one of the best ones that we've seen DeCoco pitch as well. And it's been a pleasure throughout all 4 of these years to get to cover. Hey, NCAA tournament all 4 years that we've been a part of Tufts University and have been a part of JumboCast. It's been a pleasure every single year. I know you've been here for the last 3. I've been here for the last 2. Still an opportunity for the Jumbos to do some more work. Again, if they do win this game, if the score holds out the way it is, it'll be a rematch against Rochester tomorrow for potentially 2 to see if the Jumbos can make it to that super regional of the NCAA tournament for just the first time since 2021.
As we head into the bottom of the 5th, it's going to be a duel of the 6s. Haley Lineback is being pinch hit for. Lindsay Newman will go in to pinch hit with, in my opinion, this is one of my favorite walk-up songs that I've heard across all the batted ball sports that I've been to this year specifically. Both Tufts baseball, Tufts softball, and we'll even throw in the Boston Red Sox just for the heck of it. Baba O'Reilly, The Who, University of Georgia fight song, ones might say. Newman versus Evanetsky, and first pitch goes the way of Evanetsky.
We've seen Newman make really strong contact in both of her pinch hitting appearances so far in this tournament, just looking for that first hit still, trying to replicate some of that success that she had in 2023.
The 0-1 is high and outside. Count runs even 1-1.
In terms of other pinch hitting options that the Jumbos still do have at their disposal, somebody like Heaven Oliva, who did not start this game, could again be an option.
Now, if you look on paper and you look at all the stats of all the Jumbos who've gone in through this season, it seems like the roster is quite deep. And in reality, it is. But at the same time, not when we've hit this deep into the season. There are trustworthy bats. There's people you're going to go to, like Newman, who just fouls back that pitch from Evanetsky. And this is kind of where you put a question mark. We know who the next woman up in terms of a pinch hitter is going to be. We know who the next pinch runner is going to be. It's the same people. It always is. It'll be Oliva or it'll be Cullen. But after that, things become a little bit more of a question mark. So if this game remains close, if the Cardinals are able to put runs on the board as Shackleton brings that one in for out number 1. If Tufts needs to go to their bench, needs to go to a new hitter, there are questions as to who it's going to be and what will end up happening.
Yeah, we talked about a lot earlier in the broadcast, or just earlier on in the weekend, about experience for a lot of the Jumbos players that are on the field today. The problem is they're all their starters, and once you get to some of those bench pieces, it is a lot of first years who didn't get a ton of playing time throughout this season, and so you are maybe responsible for putting them into a bit of a high-pressure situation if it comes to it. And so it's going to be up to the starters maybe to close this one out, make sure that they have a chance at that regional final.
If the game stays where it is, this will be the last at-bat for Steinberg, who just gets an infield hit. The point I was going to make is she has a multi-hit game streak. I think that's the proper wording on that, the proper phrasing. She had multi-hits in every game so far this tournament, and now it remains true. 3 games played, 3 games with multi-hits. Steinberg with an infield hit.
That's now 23 hits for Steinberg in her last 11 games, so averaging over 2 per game in that stretch. And even when the rest of the Jumbo bats really haven't been going, Steinberg still has been. We talked about early in that Western New England game. Even in that loss to Trinity, which was a shutout in the NESCAC semifinals, went 2 for 4.
Harita the batter. Ahead 2-0 against Evanetsky. Harita 1 for 2 on the day. Still haven't seen that extra base hit, third gear sort of power that she brings to the table. 2-0 in there for strike one.
Evanetsky targeting the outside part of the plate this time. Harita, remember, pulled that last one that she had for a base hit, I think back in the third inning or so. So maybe some use of that opposite field power again.
Harita will get under this one, foul it out of play.
It's dangerous for anyone that's in the circle, specifically now for Evanetsky, because you've seen pitchers attack the outside of the zone against Harita. You've seen pitchers target the inside of the zone, and Harita's been able to make use of both areas of the plate. That's a really impressive look for a hitter.
It's a very balanced spray chart if you look to the balls put in play from Harita. Spit's going to pop up and make sure that Steinberg isn't trying to take second base again. Full count to Harita. Payoff pitch from Evanetsky. Gets Harita swinging. Huge strikeout from Evanetsky. Second of the afternoon for her. And Tufts will go to the bench. Bella Jimenez being pinch hit for by Heaven Oliva. So this is the position we were just talking about, Andrew. We knew Oliva was next up off the bench. With her and Newman being used, who's the next person up if you need another bat? Who comes in next?
Yeah, and I think if a situation arose where Harita was able to reach base, allow for Steinberg to get over to third. With one out, maybe you do stick Jimenez in this situation. She's much more contact-oriented. Oliva, you're looking for power. You know, she's had a bunch of really high-fly balls. None of them really have resulted in hits just yet, but if she gets a hold of one, it'll go a long way. That's what the Jumbos need in this situation with 2 outs and a runner on first base.
Vanetsky to Oliva. Oliva gets under it. Sky high, staying in the infield. Shackleton trying to find it, and she will. Oliva stays tried and true to getting under balls and putting them in the air. This one not going to break the way of the Jumbos. It's a 2-run lead held through 5. DeCoco back into the circle after a quick break.
No runs, 1 hit. Off the top of the 6th for the Cardinals.
Top of the 6th, 9-1-2, the expected batters for the Cardinals. Starting things off, it's Alyssa Dawson. Dawson, the lefty slap hitter, struck out in her only at bat against DeCoco in the third. Takes a first pitch strike. DeCoco has that screwball that tails away towards the outside edge versus the right-handed hitters and counteracts that with a changeup that does the same exact motion in terms of what side of the plate it ends up at. There it is, back-to-back pitches, back-to-back outside corner calls. 0-2 now.
You see the whole infield playing in, expecting that slap with slash bunt. Looks like Dawson showed bunt there on that 0-1 count.
Dawson is going to take.
Even the outfield's in. Look at where Kayla McCabe is standing right now in left field. About halfway between the infield grass and the wall.
Well, you traditionally don't associate a whole lot of power when it comes to slap hitters. It's all about contact and hitting the ball through the hole. As Dawson's going to get called out on strikes, DeCoco's at 5.
Second strikeout against Dawson for DeCoco here today, as she's now going to face the Order of Fisher for the 3rd time. This is when those questions really start to arise. Gotten the better of Lepresto so far, who's had herself an incredible tournament up until this point.
First pitch from DeCoco to Lepresta, low for ball 1. Taking a peek into that Cardinal bullpen, it's Cassidy Ormond, who is throwing some pitches. Presumably, if the Jumbos get some base runners in the bottom of the 6th, look to grow that 2-0 lead as that one gets past the glove of DeCoco. Takes a bounce off of the base, so Steinberg doesn't have a chance to make a play.
Yeah, it was a pretty hard hit ball by Lepresta, but definitely one that could have been fielded by DeCoco under different circumstances. Just you're not going to be able to get all of them, and we've seen DeCoco be so good defensively inside the circle. And yeah, again, that weird bounce off of second base as well, right? If Steinberg was able to field it cleanly, maybe there's a play at first. DeCoco did slow the ball down a little bit after it did bounce, I believe, off of her glove. But that's the first base runner in a while for the Cardinals. They're looking to see if they can get a little bit of extra momentum here.
A ball going to bounce away from Carrie-Ann Slayton, but not far enough for Lepresta to try and take second base. It's the center fielder Dunlin for the Cardinals. Again, hitless in the tournament. DeCoco trying to keep that number true, that 0-hit mark she's put up. Gonna hit this one to Steinberg. Steinberg with a chance to turn 2. Flick over to Jimenez. Jimenez throws over to first, but no chance to get the speed of Maddie Dunlin. Lead runner out, 2 outs on the board. And it's Shackleton. If Shackleton manages to get on base, then you have that potential go-ahead run of McManus, who would be up at the plate. This is a key must-get batter for DeCoco.
We'll see how aggressive Donlin looks on the base paths as well. You'd imagine with Shackleton up to bat, not going to be too aggressive, but is fast, a good defensive player in center field as well. So could always be an option. And we haven't talked too much about Maddie Donlin, but what an amazing season she has had. She was Empire 8 Player of the Year with over about 1,000 OPS. And just incredible defense all season in center field. Really great stuff out of her. And, you know, she represents just getting that lead a little bit closer against DeCoco.
Shackleton will swing off of the end of the bat there. 0-2 now in favor of the Tufts southpaw. The reason why we emphasize needing to get Shackleton is because of the batter in the on-deck circle. McManus and her 13 home runs, one swing, could be a difference maker if this inning is to continue.
And that's a situation where maybe if you are Coach Epstein, you do end up pulling the trigger. Try to put in someone like Sky Johnson or Lacey Chillick to get that out, to get McManus.
1-2, bounces in front of Slayton. With the 2-strike count, DeCoco trying to pitch around the zone and try and generate some swings and misses from Shackleton. We are seeing a ball being tossed in the Tufts bullpen, so someone is throwing, someone is getting loose, just not quite sure who it is. Shackleton grounds this one fair. Lineback steps on the bag, and DeCoco's through 6. A base runner gets on. The tying run was brought to the plate, but DeCoco strands that runner. And Tufts will look to add some insurance runs with the scariest part of that Cardinals lineup due up in the 7th.
Yeah, what a performance from DeCoco so far. And that out again, just getting that against Shackleton was huge. You now get to face McManus to lead off the inning. There's no chance of a base runner reaching. So if she is able to hit a home run in that situation, the lead would still be held at 2-1. So just making sure you limit damage, prevent runners on base for McManus. That's a big out for DeCoco. And for the Jumbos, if they're able to put even one run on the board as a little bit of extra insurance, they will be feeling very comfortable to secure their spot in this regional final of the NCAA tournament.
Again, they've had some troubles with that 2-run buffer, but to extend it to 3, completely different ball game. 3 runs is now the bat of McManus. If she manages to get a home run, not only do you have some wiggle room where if any base runner gets on, they're not necessarily going to tie the game, but you also just feel a little bit more confident with 3 runs behind you to try and throw some competitive pitches that aren't necessarily strikes, but things that you're trying to get some swings and misses, trying to get a bite.
And it's the middle of the order again. For the Jumbos, it'll be Perucci and then Edelman. So, and then more after that. So this is, 4, 5, 6. This is exactly where you want to be to try to put another run on the board.
Vanetsky still in despite Ormond having been warming up.
And if you are Fisher, you do not want to give up another run here. As you said, the difference between 2 and 3 is big. And so just making sure you keep it at this point with the big part of your lineup coming up in the 7th.
Perucci's taken both pitches offered to her, count even 1-1.
You know, the good thing for St. John Fisher, not a ton of seniors that will be graduating at the end of this season.
Perucci gets under this one, hitting it into left center gap. That's going to go bouncing off of the wall. Perucci turning, digging for second. She'll stay there with a stand-up, lead-up double.
Yeah, we've seen Perucci unleash a little bit with her power so far in this game against St. John Fisher. She does it again with that double right into left center field. And she's standing once again in scoring position for Michelle Edelman. She's continued to be hot here in this tournament, specifically today. She's one hit away from extending that lead, as we said, was also important.
That third run is now just 2 bases away for Tufts. Edelman 0 for 2 on the day, reached first on an error, advanced to second on that errant throw, and then stole third. So she's had a solid time running, but needs to put one in play here. Gets under this one. It's hit deep to center field, but Dunland's going back. She's got it. Perucci thought there was a chance it might fall, so she went about a third of the way out past second, so no chance of tagging up there, especially if you consider the arm from Donlin.
Yeah, maybe that might have been one of the hardest hit balls that we saw from Edelman all tournament so far, but just ended up in a glove that time of Donlin. She has so much range in that center field. The reason she was named Empire 8 Player of the Year.
Rachel Moore 0 for 2, having flown out to Donlin in center, both of her at-bats. Behind 0-1 on Evanetsky.
Yeah, Moore had a big game against Western New England, which ended up breaking a bit of a cold streak for her.
Gonna ground this one softly to Cornover. The throw in time. Perucci will get to third. The ball hit her on the throw, but she's on the base, so she's safe regardless. So it's a productive out for Rachel Moore. And Kayla McCabe just needs to put one up the middle, put one in play away from any of these Cardinals' gloves for Tufts to get their third security run.
And we've seen McCabe so far today issue hard contact to the right side and the left side of the infield. So
McCabe
difficult
first pitch, strike one.
Difficult to figure out where exactly you do place your infielders here. We still see Lepresto cheating towards first base just a little bit there, really relying potentially on Evanetsky to play a factor in the circle.
0-1. McCabe trying to go inside out there, or outside in. Pitch outside, but choked up on the bat, so it's more of a swing intended for an inside pitch. Regardless, fouled off 0-2.
That's outside in.
So I was right the first time. This one will go down. McCabe with a base hit going the opposite way, brings home that third run. And what could have been the difference maker comes off of the bat from Kayla McCabe.
Wow, what a tournament so far from Kayla McCabe. Gets that third run in. She's somebody who, again, has been fighting for that spot in the lineup basically all season, as she's had that platoon role with Harita, mostly as a defensive player, but doing some awesome stuff with the bat so far here in Medford.
Carrie Ann Slayton looking to bust out of the slump. Trying to advance Kayla McCabe, continue the 2-out rally, grow Tufts' lead even larger than it is now at 3 runs. 0-1 from Evanetsky. Skips at the feet, but Spitz keeps it in front of her. Wind blowing in from dead center. Evanetsky to Slayton. Slayton hits a sharp grounder to Cornover. She's not going to have a play to be made.
And that was the hardest hit ball we've seen from Slayton all tournament long, and it was a rocket, a line drive, which is crucial. Not getting that same launch angle that we've seen from a lot of the fly balls that she's hit so far. And Cornover not able to make that play. Another base hit for the bottom of the jumbo lineup. If lineback can reach here, that results in the top of the lineup coming up again, even more insurance potentially on the table.
I think we're about to see a pinch runner situation. It'll be Sarah Cullen running for Kayla McCabe.
It's an interesting decision, but you are late enough in the game where you can make aggressive decisions with your substitutions. This might be the last time the Jumbos see, a chance in the batter's box, and so putting somebody who's maybe marginally faster than McCabe, even though McCabe is a solid base runner in her own right, like Cullen, to get that lead to 4 becomes so important.
Haley Lineback was pinch hit for by Lindsey Newman last inning, but re-entered and now will be batting for herself. Cullen kind of feels like Michelle Edelman, the way that she's running around the bases. She's starting very low off of the base and then taking these huge runoffs during the pitch, but just faith in her own speed to get back. 1-0, line back takes, strike one.
Yeah, we've seen some great base running all season long, really, from Cullen, who, you know, that's been her primary role, but she's done it well. And it's not, even if it's not just scoring, you know, or not just stealing base hits, it's making sure you're in positions to score off of base hits.
1-1, line back gets under this one. It's looking like it's going to be a tough play for Dawson. It's going to fall in front of her, and Cullen will score. That ball just kept dropping and dropping. The wind blowing in. Dawson running as hard as she could, makes the slide, but it just bounces right in front of her, hops into the glove. Lineback with a base hit, brings in another, and, you know, just in addition, the kind of icing on the cake, Carrie Ann Slayton finds her way on third base.
Yeah, just really great stuff from the bottom of the lineup here for the Jumbos. They've kept this inning alive. They've added some crucial insurance runs. It was lineback this time with that high blooper that just barely fell under the glove of Dawson over in right field. And again, the power of using a pinch runner like Sarah Cullen in that situation. Just getting that slight advantage in terms of speed. That could have been the difference, and now the Jumbos have a very comfortable 4-0 lead. And a new pitcher coming in, or perhaps a familiar pitcher if you've been tuning in with us all day here on JumboCast. It's going to be Cassidy Orman, looking to enter her second straight game today.
Orman just pitched a 1-run, 7-inning gem that put the Cardinals in the game that they are now against Tufts. Behind 4-0 with a runner on third. Orman just trying to make sure that this one can be kept to a one swing, ties the game sort of a situation where if you have the bases loaded, that tying run would be up at the plate. And Andrew, this is the version of the Jumbos that the Yellow Jackets were sort of expecting to face, but also were afraid of facing, because across all the games in the tournament, it's been that top part of the lineup which has gotten things started, and then kind of after that 6 spot, after the 5 spot, even if you want to look back towards that first game against Western New England, things have fallen off for Tufts. They hadn't really been putting the ball in play. If they had, it would be, you know, grounders, just kind of advancing runners, but they weren't getting hits. They weren't netting runs. So with the way that things are performed in this game, where that last part of the lineup is not only putting the ball in play and getting good at bats, but netting runs, stealing bases, it's kind of a different beast that the Yellow Jackets are going to have to face tomorrow.
Yeah, just seeing the bottom of the lineup produce for the Jumbos is such a welcome sign. There's not been a ton of that, you know, just overall this season, even though Tufts, you know, has had an incredible record, obviously, ended up as the 1 seed in the NESCAC tournament before falling to Trinity. So if they can keep this offensive production going top to bottom, Rochester might be in for another tough battle.
Since entering, Ormon's issued 3 balls to Josie Steinberg. Playing very careful to the Jumbo shortstop. Not trying to give her something that she could turn into her 3rd hit of the game. 3-0. Steinberg takes, it's in for strike 1.
Another hit here would be, you know, just big. It's, you know, you say like 1 possession game in sports like basketball. Almost the same thing going from 4 to 5.
Steinberg going to hit that one up the middle. Ormond not able to get that one. It looks like it hit off of her pitching hand thumb. The run comes home. Steinberg is safe at second. Lineback in at third. Run number 5 comes in, but Ormond seems a little banged up.
You hope she's okay. I mean, she just had such an incredible game earlier today against Western New England. And that ball was well struck by Steinberg. She's pointing to, I believe it's her pitching hand, which would be definitely not a good injury to suffer at this point in the game. So we'll keep an eye on that.
It's ruled a base hit for Steinberg, so it's another 3-hit game for her. 9 across 3 games. That's 3 3-hit games for the shortstop. Off of that hit, the ball deflected off of the end of the glove from Ormond and then into her pitching hand. We're going to give her some warm-ups to see whether or not she's able to continue. It'll be Lauren Harita due up for Tufts. And after that 1 pitch, it seems like Cassidy Ormond's good to go. Take the claps from the crowd, as you often see in sporting events when a player gets a little banged up. You always got to applaud the ability to battle back.
I mean, you're under 40 feet. to home plate after you finish your windup if you are a pitcher in the circle in a softball game. So that's not a ton of time to react, and that's why we praise players like Dakota for being able to be incredible on the defensive end.
2 in scoring position. It's been a 2-out rally for Tufts, and Lauren Harita is up for her 4th time. 1 for 3 on the day.
She's been continuing to pass the baton. No big homers, just a bunch of singles and moving runners over for the Jumbos.
Harita gets on this one. That's going to go into the left center gap. Trying to go all the way back to the wall. Cut off at the warning track by Dunlin. To score, Harita with a stand-up double. Finally gets a pitch she can take the other way, and it puts Tufts up 7-0.
Yeah, they're rolling right now in this 6th inning. It's very similar to the situation that they had against Western New England, although that was in the 5th inning, I believe, for the Jumbos. They put up a big number. They were able to string a ton of hits together, and again, it starts with the bottom of the order, being able to produce at a level, put runners on for the top of the lineup, for players like Harita to contribute.
Andrew, you talked about what the dream could be for our last game. You said it would be a walk-off, and with the way that the mercy rule works, Lauren Harita is that walk-off run. If Bella Jimenez can put one in play that would score Harita,
all right,
that's game.
Not the walk-off I was hoping for or thinking about, but we'll take it.
0-1. Jimenez hit that one. Sharp line drive. Harita is going to be waved around third. The throw from McManus to Spitz. 9 time! It's a walk-off hit for Bella Jimenez. That's run number 8. The game should be called. The mercy rule is hit, and Tufts will go play a doubleheader, potentially, if they're able to win game 1, against the University of Rochester Yellow Jackets tomorrow here on JumboCast, here in Medford on their own home turf.
Wow, that was not how I expected that game to end, but just an absolute display of what this Jumbo offense is capable of. They didn't show it as much against Rochester, only scoring 2 runs, but man, they put things together in the bottom of the 6th, and if they're able to keep this momentum going, Rochester might be in for another challenge in what could be 2 more games tomorrow.
It was a 6-inning, 3-hit gem twirled from DeCoco in the circle. A 6-run 6th inning for the Jumbos to walk it off. They're going to get their vengeance game. The bats have come alive from top to bottom. The momentum looking pretty solid for them as they look to battle their demons and take in that last dance to make it to the Super Regional against the University of Rochester Yellow Jackets. Andrew, it's it.
I mean, I'm excited for tomorrow. We might be we might be in the process of graduating, which means we can't be on the call for tomorrow's set of games. We're gonna step aside quickly to honor St. John Fisher and their incredible season, making it to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. But it's just been a pleasure, Jordan, and can't wait to see what's to come.
Number 4, Maddie Rose. Number 5, Katie Menace. Number 6, Ainsley Yanganetsky. Number 7, Leah Fromm. Number 8, Cass Ormond. Number 9, Liv Godley. Number 11, Gracie Corella. Number 12, Alyssa Dawson. Number 13, Maddie Dunlin. Number 14, Kelly LaPesto. Number 15, Kelly Conoyer. Number 16, Abby Parks. Number 17, Taylor Shackleton. Number 18, Molly Kuhn. Number 20, Marian Lescova. Number 21, Emma McLaughlin. Number 22, Cece Holmes. Number 23, Holly Lorimer. Number 25, Cassidy Evanetsky. Number 31, Maddie Hermine. Number 33, Myri Spitz. Number 35, Emily McManus. And the staff, head coach Barry Mance, assistant coaches Renee Smith and Emily Trotman, and the head trainer Jim Grant. Congratulations to St. John Fisher University on a conference championship winning NCAA tournament qualifying season. Ladies and gentlemen, a reminder, we'll be playing here tomorrow, 11 o'clock.
Congratulations to St. John Fisher and the entire Cardinals staff, coaches, players on a fantastic season, a win in the Empire 8 championship, but their NCAA berth has come to a close. Tufts will be playing in that match to make it to the Super Regional tomorrow against the University of Rochester Yellow Jackets, who do still preserve their second life, so Tufts will need to take both games tomorrow, needing to win the first one to have a Game 7 be played. And it's an emotional time here for us, Andrew. This is officially the time where we get to pass the torch off to everybody else. Those games tomorrow will be covered by a fantastic crew. David Latham, Riley Daniel, Ariel Weinstein, a mix of the three of them going to be taking you guys through that final while Andrew and I go out and graduate. It's been a wonderful 3-year trek for us, starting off in those volleyball games, moving on to sitting back and directing basketball, and then finishing things off as our friendship sort of started with conversations about baseball. We worked the battle ball games. We ended up where we are here. It's been truly a pleasure to have done this for such a long time for you guys. We really do have a lot of fun doing it, and love hearing all the comments from you guys, and appreciate all the feedback that we get from you as well. It's been an honor to work for Tufts Athletics, to broadcast all of these games, and there's nothing left to say but the wise words of former JumboCast alumni Sam Brill. Thank you for tuning in. Stay home safely.